It's Great Day Houston. From food, fun, health, family, in other words, your life. It's your morning wake-up call to everything Houston. And here's your host, Deborah Duncan.
All right, PMS. Turns out if your mother had it rough, you might too. There is a natural way to turn it all around, though, and here to show us from the Hotze Health and Wellness Center, please welcome Dr. Stephen Hotze, along with his patients, mother and daughter, Penny and Arabella Jones. Good morning. All right, fact of the matter is, because women have more to deal with, it's just that being a woman in itself, we have so many more hormone issues that can impact us. And if you have bad PMS, tell us about this relationship between a mother and a daughter.
Well, obviously, all women experience hormonal changes. They go through puberty, and the reason women tend to have more difficulties is because they have a menstrual cycle every month, and they have to balance out their estrogen and progesterone hormones every month. And genetically, some women have a harder time with it, and oftentimes their children will have very similar problems. And I think that's what was
Penny, so you always just struggled with it.
Penny. Yeah. So when Penny saw problems on her daughter, she saw herself.
Yeah. So when we say problems, what are we talking about?
For me, ever since puberty, have heavy bleeding, heavy cramping. My mother was the same way, except hers was much more severe. She told me when she was a schoolgirl, she had to stay home.
Yeah, it was debilitating.
Yeah, she just had to lie down the whole day. So I was thinking to myself, mine wasn't that bad. I could deal with this, so I'm much better. But after I had Arabella, things just went downhill. And after I had second daughter, man, hell break loose. So I was like, man, what's happening to me? I used to be so healthy and ate right, but despite of all that I was doing, all this was happening. So there was, and I was seeking answers. I went to 3 different doctors, and they were all telling me, "You're okay. Your hormones came out okay. Your thyroid is okay. There's nothing to treat."
All right, and therein lies the problem, Dr. Hotze. Obviously, she's not okay, and things can get worse after having children. So when they're saying she's okay and she's not, what was the problem there?
Well, they're looking at lab normals. They're not listening to the patient.
Yeah.
And if she tells you she's not feeling well, and the doctor tells her her blood's okay, then that makes her feel like it's all in her head, right?
Well, I knew it wasn't in my head.
Yeah.
Losing my eyebrows, my hair was falling out, I was not able to sleep, dry skin, hair getting really dry.
Which all says thyroid and some other issues. But Dr. Hotze, the way you explained it to me, and I always explain to people who stop me on the streets, because they oftentimes do, is there's this range. And when they say you're within the range, whose range was that? And if I was here before and now I'm here, yeah, I'm within the range, but my body still notices and it doesn't like it.
Right, you're not at your optimal level where you were when you were younger. So this happens commonly after women have had children. They get hormonal changes and they feel their metabolism go down. And very commonly this is hypothyroidism. They have the classic symptoms of hypothyroid. So when Penny...
I was cold.
Yeah. So when Penny came in, she saw, I guess, Dr. Ellsworth, and Dr. Ellsworth listened to her story and said, this is classical hypothyroidism, and put her on some thyroid preparation, natural desiccated thyroid, and some hormones, a little bit of cortisol. And what happened? Did it resolve your symptoms?
I felt like I hit the lottery. That's how I felt. You know, I was like, holy cow, my life is back, and I just didn't know that I could feel this good.
Right. Okay.
And that was 4 years ago.
For you, you know, you hear that your mom's like, yeah, that's what it was like for me too. We just have a tendency to think, unless you know better, that that's just what women go through. And then there's a moment where you realize, no, you shouldn't be going through it this tough.
After I hit like the puberty time, around when I would begin my menstrual cycle, it'd be awful. I'd have these mood swings, and then
you thought, it was much more than being a normal teenager, right? This was not just a normal teenager.
Normal. And then it all kind of added up, and I would suffer from kind of like depression, just being down all the time, really lethargic.
And again, Dr. Hotze, the problem would be they go, well, we can give her an antidepressant, we can give her this.
Anti-anxiety medication, put her on birth control pills, and if they do that, they're going to get her totally messed up for the rest of her life. But Penny had the good sense to say, wow, that sounds like me. And so we brought in Arabella came in, And again, we started on a little bit of thyroid, put her on some little bit of natural progesterone, maybe a little cortisol, got her eating right.
And now you're a nice teen?
I'm an angel now.
Yeah. All right. Now, the answer that a lot of
Oh, yes.
the answer that a lot of women have after they've had the children that they want to have, and they're still having these crazy periods, is to go get a hysterectomy. And that's oftentimes what they're told to do. It's like, well, you know what? Let's just go ahead and get a hysterectomy. And your point is, you can deal with PMS in a much more natural way
than having your organs cut out.
Yeah.
That's not the. It doesn't seem like a good method. I got PMS, so I'm going to cut them over. I mean, because that doesn't even change your hormones. When you do that, you still got the hormonal changes going on.
Right.
So you need to balance out the hormones with natural bioidentical hormones, and that's what we do at the Hotze Health and Wellness Center. We use natural bioidentical hormones. It's simple, and it works.
All right, now everybody who has a crazy teen is going to be coming into the office with you. All right, you are the author of Hormones, Health, and Happiness, which is a great book that really details a lot of this stuff where you can easily understand it, and we have some for the audience, so thank you very much. But it is a great resource that explains it for you in an easy way. For more information about the Hotze Health and Wellness Center, log on to hotzehwc.com or call 281-698-8698, 281-698-8698. You can also catch Dr. Hotze on the radio. His program, Health and Wellness Solutions, airs Monday through Friday at noon on KSEV Radio, 700 AM. You can also listen live at drhotze.com. If you're sick and tired of being sick and tired, get your life back.
Sick and tired of being sick and tired, give us a call.
All right. Up next, the doctors are taking your health-related questions. You can call us at 713-284-1055, 713-284-1055. We'll be right back. To answer your health questions, please welcome back family and cosmetic dentist Dr. Terry Alani, cardiologist Dr. Coda Reddy, hormone specialist and general practitioner Dr. Stephen Hotze, and ear, nose, and throat specialist Dr. Raza Pasha. All right, we have some folks in our audience who have some questions, and any of y'all can answer. And so first we have Kathy.
Hi, I wanted to know if it's okay to substitute breakfast for a nutrition shake, like Ensure.
Yeah, we all want the convenience of running out the door. We can sit in the car and drink something down and feel like we get our entire meal. All right, so.
I personally would not recommend that. If you look at the ingredients of a nutritional shake, they have a lot of sugar and other things which you don't want, and the fillers and the additives. So if you really want, best thing is eat 2 eggs. Nothing wrong with it. It takes you less than 5 minutes to eat 2 eggs, and you're out of the door. And
Dr. Alani, you are adamant that people eat things that are good for their teeth. A lot of those drinks may have a lot of sugar in them.
They do. A lot of those shakes do have sugar in them, so you have to be really careful with that.
All right, let's go to our phone lines. And who's on the phone, Chris? Jerry. Good morning, Jerry.
Good morning. How are you?
Good. What's your question?
Yes. A lot of times when I'm on the go and I've been busy and going all day, and then at night when I try to lay down to sleep, my body will not unwind, and I cannot sleep.
Huh. Okay. So you think you're sleepy, but you can't go to sleep. So Dr. Hotze, Dr. Pasha, if you two could address that.
Well, she's how old?
How old are you, Jerry?
62.
62.
Well, you know, there's a lot of ways to, this may be due to stress, so there are a lot of ways you can relieve stress. Exercise, eat correctly, and you can take some over-the-counter preparations like 5-HTP or melatonin, which are over-the-counter natural preparations to help you sleep. I wouldn't take any drugs, though, but that's what I would do.
Yeah, and I know for me, I was so sleepy I couldn't wait to go to sleep, but then I couldn't sleep. And I had thyroid issues, so it was kind of crazy there.
Yeah, and she said something very specific. She says she has a hard time winding down. So when you start thinking about someone who has a hard time winding down, you start thinking about it's a little bit about sleep hygiene and what's going on. And I think Dr. Hotze's right. Stress is a definite big factor if your mind is racing beforehand. So I think if she does some sleep hygiene, some basic sleep hygiene, I think she might do well.
Yeah, and what you do by sleep hygiene is
examples are like exercise. Don't exercise right before sleep, but right before beforehand. Don't eat late meals.
Coffee, tea, stuff like that.
Avoid caffeine, avoid all those stimulants. Another thing that you can do also is take a shower beforehand, and when your body cools down, that kind of regulates your body temperature. He mentioned, Dr. Hotze mentioned melatonin.
Right.
I think that the key component is that when she said that she had a hard time winding down.
Can I add something to that?
Yes.
The other thing you can do if you want to relax is just sit in the corner on a chair and take a deep breath in and out for at least 15 times and just focus on your breathing and see what happens. You suddenly realize that everything sort of slows down and you actually relax. It helps you relax and go down to sleep, go back to sleep very easily.
Dr. Lonnie, we have an email question for you. What is the #1 thing I can do as a parent to help keep my teens' teeth healthy? So when they're really little, we might brush our teeth for them, but as teenagers, we're not quite sure.
The problem with teenagers is they eat so much junk.
Yeah.
Cookies and all of the sugary drinks. So what I would advise, the kids are going to snack. If they're not going to snack at your house, they're going to go down the street and snack at your friend's house. So, you know, you can keep those snacks, but make sure you educate your children. I would really avoid a lot of the soft drinks and all of the drinks that have a lot of sugar in them. Don't even pack them in their lunch boxes. Try to get them to drink a lot of water, and if they are going to eat the snacks, and make sure they carry a toothbrush or they brush their teeth as quickly after, because that bacteria, you're just bathing your teeth in sugar when you drink all of those sugar drinks.
Yeah, all right, we'll have take more questions from you when we come back. Taking some medical questions from our audience members, and your question was, Raynell,
why did I gain weight after having my thyroids removed?
Well, did they put you on some thyroid preparation after that?
Yes.
And what are you on? A synthetic thyroid, Levothyroid, Luboxil, or
what are you taking? Taking Synthroid.
Synthroid. Very commonly, we see that individuals who are put on synthetic thyroid preparations don't really respond as well as they do when they take desiccated natural thyroid. And the reason is that the synthetic thyroid doesn't even contain the active thyroid hormone itself. It only has T4 in it. It has to be converted to T3. And if your body doesn't properly utilize that, then you can have your normal blood levels, but you can still have symptoms of low thyroid. So you might discuss with your physician about switching you to desiccated thyroid, Armour thyroid.
All right, Christy, where's Christy at? All right, Christy, and what's your question?
Good morning. How can you maintain a healthy diet in high school when you have to depend on the school cafeteria, and also with sports, with eating out a lot, you know, every night and stuff like that? So.
We have more choices than we think we do, don't we, Dr. Reddy?
That's a tough question. It's very hard to maintain a healthy diet, especially when you're a teen. But it's your choice. If you choose not to eat the wrong food, nobody can force you. So if you have to go for lunch, you pack your own lunch and take it with you. How can anybody force you and say you cannot eat this? You can do that. But a lot of times we take the easy way out. Good health is not easy. You have to work at it. That's the same thing. You want good diet, you have to make choices. If you don't make choices, then we make the choices for you. That's your choice.
All right, Jeannie?
Hi. I have a question. I have an 11-month-old baby who snores, and so I'm concerned about that.
I'm sorry, how old is your baby?
11 months.
11-month-old?
Yes.
Okay. If your child's 11 months, more than likely, when they snore, it's usually because of their tonsils. I'd say about 90% of the time it's because of their tonsils. Your child's a little young, and it's okay if they snore. The most important thing is whether or not they gas. There's a difference between snoring and gasping. If you snore, you make a lot of noise and you upset everybody. If you gas, you snore, and then you have a pause. And if you have a pause, that's called an apneic event, and that's different. So I'd have to look at your child, and we'd have to talk about that, whether or not your child actually gasps, or whether or not just snore, which is not a big deal.
Because that's the dangerous part.
The apneic event, the stop breathing, is the dangerous part. That's right.
All right,
and kids can have sleep apnea too.
Yeah. All right, Amante?
Right. I was wondering, does drinking Coke actually rot in your teeth?
Yes. Absolutely. As I said in the earlier segment, when you drink Coke, any of the drinks that have a lot of sugar, you're basically just bathing your teeth in sugar. And it's interesting because when I receive a new patient, or a new patient comes into my office, you know, we usually take a full set of x-rays. And on those x-rays, a lot of time, I can tell 100% of the time if the patient drinks Cokes. Because the way you can tell is they have decay in between almost every tooth in the back. And it attacks the enamel in between your teeth. So basically what I tell my patients is, honestly, to stop drinking them and drink water or drink something else that has like a sugar substitute, because it does, over time, it will absolutely decay your teeth really severely, especially young adults.
And Dr. Alani also told me that instead of drinking it regularly, once, if you just keep sipping on it, you actually worsen your teeth.
Exactly.
So could you just do, does drinking it through a straw help?
Not really, just drink it quickly. And then my kids went crazy when they were growing up because I kept no soft drinks in my house. And so
those little kids were sneaking at the neighbor's house.
Yes, they were.
All right, so. Dr. Alani, thank you very much. See, that makes me nervous because, you know, when I go in you check my teeth, and I told you I didn't drink any, and so you knew better, didn't you?
Oh, yeah, I do, Deborah.
All right, we'll be right back.